Let's talk about something no one really prepares you for. Sometimes the person making your job feel the hardest is someone who reports to you. They push back in front of others, they question your decisions, or they make little comments that stay with you long after the day is over. And at some point, you start wondering, is this just part of the job, or is there something wrong with me? If you've ever felt that before, you're not alone, and you're not imagining it. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this dynamic is happening and what needs to change so you can feel steady again in your role. This isn't just a difficult personality, and it's not about one bad day. It's about power. When someone behaves like this, they're testing the space. They're watching to see what they can get away with and whether you'll shrink when they do. And if nothing changes, it doesn't usually calm down, it gets bolder. That's why being nicer, more flexible, or more understanding doesn't fix it. It can actually send the message that this dynamic is okay. Now, this is the part most managers don't say out loud. It doesn't just feel frustrating, it feels unsettling. Like your confidence, your role, and your credibility are all suddenly up for debate. So, when someone disrespects you, it can start to feel like a reflection of you, and not something you're allowed to change. But this isn't about who you are, it's about how much you've been carrying on your own. What finally changes isn't fixing them, it's realizing you don't have to keep shrinking in this dynamic. Not by getting louder, not by proving anything, but by deciding I'm allowed to take up space here. And when that happens, three things start to change. They're not dramatic, they're internal, but they completely shift how you show up. Let me walk you through them. The first shift is you stop chasing approval. This is the first change. You stop trying to earn their permission to lead. Instead of thinking, how do I get them to like me? You start thinking, what does this team need from me right now? You don't over-explain every decision. You don't second-guess yourself out loud. Not because you don't care, but because you're no longer letting their reactions define your confidence. The next shift is you change your presence. Once you stop chasing approval, something else happens. You start showing up differently. You're steadier, less reactive, and more grounded, and the room feels that shift. People start to sense where the line is, even when you don't say it. Not because you're being intimidating, but because you're finally being clear. And the last shift is you let consistency speak for you. Here's the part that actually breaks the cycle. You stop trying to convince them, and you start responding the same way every time. Calm, clear, unmoved. And when the behavior stops getting an emotional reaction, it stops being a game. Because now you're not managing from fear, you're leading from certainty. When dealing with these types of employees, you don't need to become a different person, and you don't need to be harsher or colder. You just need to stop shrinking. Because leadership isn't about proving yourself, it's about setting the tone for how people treat you. And you're allowed to protect that. When you show up steady, everything else starts to work better. Not because you're controlling the room, but because you're finally grounded in it. I hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next one.